Hi, welcome to School of Addiction. My name is Ashley. Today's topic is New Year's resolution for the addicted brain. And just to let you know who I am, if you're new to the channel, my name is Ashley Bloxham. I'm a therapist. I specialise in childhood and trauma, but I'm also an addictions counsellor. I've studied addiction right the way up to PhD level, and I've also overcame addiction, which I think is the most important thing that qualifies to be sitting talking to you guys today. I also know what it's like to experience loved ones who struggle with addiction, so I know it from all angles. So today we're going to be talking about New Year's resolution for the addicted brain. Personally, I don't do New Year's resolutions, and if you want to start a day, if you're struggling with addiction, you're a rebel, so you can start early. Be a rebel. It's where we shine. Break a few rules. So if we're thinking about, okay, it's coming up to a new year, or maybe we're coming out of Christmas and it's really intense, and we're thinking, actually, I'm at a point where I want to stop. Or maybe you just you're in recovery, but maybe you're relapsing, or life's feeling a little bit flat. It's not quite where you want it to be. Then this is 3 points which I think are going to be helpful for you. 3 physical things you can do. So first of all, we need to reparent our brain, because when we think about addiction, it's not about just removing the crutch that's the addiction. It's about attacking it from all angles, which is the reason why the behaviours that we're experiencing, the thoughts and feelings. So the first thing that we need to do is reparent our brain. So there's a type of counselling called Gestalt therapy, which I think would be really helpful for this, because often we may be aware that we talk quite negatively towards ourselves, but the thought of talking to ourselves in a more positive way is really difficult if we don't particularly like ourselves or we're not used to it. So one thing you can do, what Gestalt talks about, is imagining that there's a younger version of yourself there. So I've actually, and this is on my desk, I've not just done a few guys, it's actually there, but I've got a photo of myself when I was a kid, and I framed it for this particular reason. So if you imagine, like me, Ashley, I hated her, couldn't stand her, don't know why, just didn't like her. But I used to look at this little version of myself and think, would I say what I say to myself to this little child? And it's really hard to hate on a child. And if you hate on children, then, I mean, I can't probably help you. I think you're probably at the wrong page. It's really hard to hate on a little child. So you can put a photo, frame it like I have. You could put it on your screensaver, or just have it in your favourites on your phone. But look at the photo and think, okay, would I say this to this little girl? And if the answer is no, reframe it. What would I say to this little girl? So if you've slipped up, would you say, you are awful, I can't believe you've done this, you're failing? Or would you sit there and say, okay, let's come up with a plan? So talk to yourself the same way you would talk to a child. And this works for boundaries. If you're thinking, okay, I've got a situation which isn't really helpful to us, but I don't want to put in a boundary because I'm going to be upsetting them, think about, would I put that little child in this situation? If the answer's no, then why are you putting yourself in this situation? Because the reason why we reparent ourselves, and we talk about this in counselling, is we're essentially all just little children who've grown up and experienced some pretty shit stuff and experienced some fun stuff and met some people along the way. Yet we treat ourselves like we didn't come from that child. So that can be really helpful. The second thing is the nervous system. I talk about this all the time. So one way to calm your nervous system, a technique, is called havening, and it's a bilateral touch. So when we're babies, things like mums would always do this to you, like stroke your face and, like soft touch, like your hands. You can even do it on your arms like this. Like you see, there's a study with babies. It was quite an awful study, to be honest with you. But it was a study with attachment style, and there was these babies who were orphaned, and they were all doing this, like rocking backwards and forwards and stroking the arms. And that's because it releases oxytocin and it stops the amygdala, which is plays a huge part in the fight or flight response. So it stops the amygdala from firing up. So if we're feeling stressed, like we've got a craving or there's a stressful situation, then we can just stroke our face, we can do our hands like this, or we can stroke our arms, whichever feels more soothing. So have a little practice and think which calms you down the most. So that's a practical tool. And then the third thing is, this year, whether you break your New Year's resolutions and start today because we're rebels, or whether you started on the new year, get in a habit, and it is a habit that we have to learn, of giving yourself grace and giving others grace. We do this by remembering that I'm a human being, and all of them people out there, they're also human beings, and none of us have a fucking clue what we're doing. All of us make mistakes. All of us are acting out of our wounds, the defense mechanisms we created when we're children. So if we can just give ourselves grace when we've messed up, or when we're messing up, or when we're trying something new and maybe we're not quite getting it, then it makes life a lot easier. And if you can give that same grace to other people, it'll make relationships easier. I'm not saying when we give grace to other people that we need to accept their bullshit. But we can give them grace and say, I don't like how you're behaving. I can understand you're a little human making mistakes, but can you make them over there, please? Okay. And give yourself grace for saying that. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Oi, oi, happy Monday. I know it does not feel like Monday. It is the weird time around Christmas where time just dissolves. Hi, Guy, how are you doing? Hello, Lee. Oh, hard week. My mother's just going into theatre for another brain operation. I've been on a warpath because of a scumbag seeing my niece. It made me relapse last week. I'm really sorry to hear that, Lee. I'm so sorry to hear that. This is the thing, it's really hard when we're getting... We can be doing so well, but it sounds like you've had huge things that's just threw you off. I assume when you're saying you've had a relapse last week that you've picked yourself up, because I know you did say that. How are you finding that, and do you want some support one day over the Christmas holidays, because that sounds like you're dealing with a lot. But I'm sorry to hear that. Guy, if anyone wants help from Ashley, please go to our website, School of Addiction, or comment on our videos here. Thank you so much, Guy. And yes, that is true, and it's all free. I don't charge anyone. Right, hi Ashley, by the way. Hello. Shepherds, how are you doing, Shepherds? Let's turn to God. There's a song, Explain the Whole Bible, God Bless. What's the song that explains the whole Bible? I will say this isn't a faith-based channel. I just want everyone to feel welcome. I am spiritual, the one. My grandpa was a vicar, so I've got mass respect for spirituality and religion, but... Puta Lee, can you talk to me, please? Yes, of course. Like Guy said, if you just go on my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk, I will pick up anything. It's fully confidential, guys, so anyone who wants to speak to us, and anyone who's listening, because I know when I was getting in that point where I wanted to stop my addiction, I went to NA groups and I did not say a peep. So if anyone wants some support, you don't have to be chatting with us to get it. Just go on my website. Hi, Mike. Right, a hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer, and the best cold beer is Victoria Bitter. Well, if that's what you want to do, I mean, I'm not going to be promoting alcohol on my channel, that's for sure. Lee, before anyone asks you Scottish, stop being a wind-up, Lee. I'm Newcastle. Practically near Scotland, I guess. It's a running joke because every live I get asked what I am, and no, it's always something completely different. Thank you for everyone who's liking my channel, by the way. So, love your live, thank you. Yeah, so if we're thinking about New Year's resolutions, so one of the things that we might want to be looking at is thinking about, okay, we're entering a new year, and look, I don't do New Year's resolutions myself, but I do like to start the year feeling great. And I try and do things that work in alignment with that. But if we're doing New Year's resolutions, often what we do is we set a big, heavy goal, and then we'll go charge toward it, all part of things, like all or nothing. And then when it fails, we fall flat on our face and we just think, oh, I can't be arsed. And then it's done after a week. So if we are going to make a New Year's resolution and it's going to be around addiction or something to help with our mental health. It's first of all better, instead of just like, I'm gonna go do the gym, or I'm gonna stop eating, or I'm gonna stop drinking, or whatever it is to think about, okay, why am I gonna do that? So look at the big picture, and instead think about, what do I want my life to look like this year? What was bad about my life last year? What was good about my life last year? What did I achieve? So take stock of the year before. And then think about, okay, what would I like it to look like next year? So that looks like dissecting every part of your life, like your relationships, your stress levels, your job, everything, obviously addiction, mental health. So look at it from all angles, and then think about, okay, what's the most important thing to tackle? If I did one thing on that list, what would be the one thing that would make the biggest difference? And then break that down into manageable steps. If we're like, I'm going to have my dream body, and then we go to the gym once, we go really hard at the gym, and then we get like DOMS and we're aching for like 3 days. It can be really demoralizing. And then we're looking in the mirror and we don't have our dream bodies. It's because we're setting the goal too big and we're not breaking it down into bite-sized manageable steps that we can achieve. So think about, how am I going to attack this strategically? And think about it, okay, if I was going to do this one day at a time, like what one thing would I be doing in that one day of a time? And just have all these things written down and keep going back to it, so you can say, okay, we've tackled the first thing, let's tackle the next thing on this dream life that I want. Hi to Canada, Lee. Shut up, Lee. Lee's saying I'm Irish now. I have people asking if I'm Australian. Loads of Welsh. Can I give you a free piercing? I think I've got enough. The last piercing I got when I was mentally unwell. I was having a psychotic episode. I've had quite a few and took them out, to be honest with you. It's just Conor McGregor's cousin. God, I'm not that mental. Right, has anybody got any questions around addiction and mental health, guys? And I'm happy to answer them. I'm a therapist, so I can. That is a big cup. I mean, come on, you've got a free therapist at your fingertips, yeah, and we're talking about how big me bloody cup is. But yeah, it's a nice cup. I do like it. I do love a good cup. I'm not gonna lie. Do you mean compartmentalise your goals, Ashley, for New Year's Eve? Yes, I do. So it's good to think about, what do we want in life, and then it's good to break it down. I think that's the problem. We have these goals and they're far too big and then they feel far too overwhelming. And as humans, we like to see results. So the thing with addiction is, the reason why we keep staying in the addiction, one of the reasons, is that we go for short-term satisfaction. And that long-term thing can feel really hard work and really overwhelming. And we're designed to take the short, easy route. So we go for this short, easy satisfaction. But if we can make the goal a short, easy satisfaction, then we're more likely to go, oh, well, actually, I could do that. So it's not this huge, overwhelming thing, which is, oh my God, actually, I'm just going to do this today and I'll tackle that tomorrow. Instead, you're like, well, actually, that's something I can do right now, this second. It's something small I can do. So, yeah, and in terms of addiction recovery as well, so if you're thinking, okay, next year I want to be recovered, I want to like get myself out of addiction, or maybe you've got mental health and you think like, okay, I want to like cure my anxiety. Maybe I've got generalized anxiety disorder. I don't want to have anxiety anymore. Like that, both those things are really big. So instead we can say, okay, that's the goal. So by the end of the year, I want to be doing that. But if I broke that down, what can I do right now? Just one little thing. So for addiction recovery, it might be getting used to get a little bit of control over the addiction, because right now, that's going to be totally in the driving seat. So that might be just putting it off for half an hour, just strengthening your ability to be able to say no, even if it's only for half an hour. Or maybe it's like, okay, I'm going to reduce down. So I'm not going to do it as much. I'm just going to slowly reduce down and break it down bit by bit, goal by goal. And just praise yourself as well every time you're achieving. Maybe it's like I'm going to go to NA groups or something, or smart meetings. I don't need to stop, but I can just go and listen to it. Start Ashley's group, that's starting in January, and it's free, guys. Rickety Roo, I've already had 3 beers today to numb the world. Yeah, and that makes complete sense. And if we're using the word numb, you know, that sounds like when you're not in the when you're in the world, it's not that nice of a place for you to be. Sometimes it's our thoughts that we're trying to numb ourselves from, and sometimes it's the external world. Often it's your internal and external world. So what I would say, Rickety Roo, if I was you and we're doing our New Year's resolution, which I'm talking about today, but it can just start a day, what I would do is think about, okay, why am I wanting to numb the world? What's going on in my world that I need to numb myself from? And instead of trying to tackle the addiction, removing the crutch, then say, okay, what my goal is to make the world that I'm living in, my own little universe, feel like a place that I want to be in. So that I don't want to numb myself from. So that maybe is about making changes in your environment, people. Maybe it's like, I hate my job, like I despise my job. Then it's about thinking, okay, well, what would I love to do? Can I do like little courses and try and build up a little business or something, whatever it is for you. Or maybe it's like, my work's all right, but I'm not doing I don't have any hobbies or interests. I don't like the friends I've got, they're shitbags. Like, look at what it is and start to change your external world so that you don't want to numb yourself from it. And that's absolutely something you can work on day in, day out. And you don't even need to tackle the addiction yet. But it's about building up a life that's going to be so good that actually you're going to think, well, I'm actually missing out on this because of my addiction. And then obviously harm reduction alongside that. 20 years clean from the USA. Love that for you. Mark my... We're just going to be called Mark my. That's unreal. 20 years clean. Absolute veteran. I do like to ask any of the veterans, what is your top tips? Like, my dream for this channel would be that people who've already stopped, like little recovery veterans, were to support other people as well. But yeah, what helped you stop? What's your top tip? Nat Rock, I smoked some anxiety earlier. Oh God. Do you mean you smoked like some crack, or you smoked weed, or just you're like riddled with anxiety? Could be either or. No is a complete sentence. Yeah, I've got to admit though, I know that no is a complete sentence, and as a people pleaser in recovery, I still struggle just to say no. So I often go for like empathetic assertion, which I spoke about on the last one, but it's about basically, I'll say no, but I will try and empathise with the other person first. So I try and just say it in a way, because say it in a way that kind of cushions the blow. Like, I understand why, but it's a no. But maybe we can come up with a compromise. It's called a shit sandwich. But yeah, it is a complete sentence. I just think for me personally, because I struggled with being a huge people pleaser, I struggle just to say the word no. Anybody else in that? Because I'm a therapist and I feel like I should be better, but I'm not. But it's really hard, guys, when we've had a full lifetime of never being able to say no. And like, for me, there's a lot of instances where I've been physically punished for that. So I've got like trauma around that. It's really hard to come out of it. So sometimes we need to accept, okay, I've been wired up like this for so many years. So how am I going to do it in a way that works for me? But yeah, that is the goal, to get to no is a complete sentence. One day. Mammoth, I don't know how you say that. I look at it like this. If you're done with and truly ready to get sober, you'll find a way. The thing about it is you have to really be honest with yourself before you start to change. Yeah, you do. And it's really hard to be honest with yourself, because as much honesty as we can have, we're going to get kickback. Like, our brains are going to make excuses. So one way you can do this, and this is called motivational interviewing, it's a type of therapy, which is kind of what I try and do on the channel, to be honest with you. But if we're just sitting there saying the things we don't like about it, we can get very defensive. So one thing that you need to do is give a full picture, and it's being real with yourself. So write down all the good things about it. That's why when I come on the channel, I won't just sit here and say, oh, drugs are bad and drinking alcohol is bad, because let's be real, there's things about it that's good to us as a person. Like when I was a ketamine addict, it served a purpose. I wasn't sitting there sniffing ket because it was horrible and I didn't like it. I was sniffing it because I enjoyed it. It was fun. It helped turn down my brain. It made life seem easier. I was getting dopamine hits. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out of it. So if we want to be honest with ourselves, be honest about the good stuff. Do that first. But then sit there and be honest about the not so good stuff. And if we're in addiction, there's probably racking up quite a lot of not good stuff. And then what we can do with that is we can start to say, okay, if this is the good stuff, can I replace that good stuff with something outside of the substance? So for me, it numbed my brain. Okay, can I work out a way to calm my brain? Turned out I can't. My brain's really rapid. So instead, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Can I learn to at least enjoy my brain? Like, can I at least say nice things to myself? If I'm going to be talking to myself all the time, can I at least be nice things? Can I big myself up instead of tearing myself down, etc.? Where are you from in the UK? Lee, take it from here. I'm from Newcastle, although there's much debate about it, where I'm from. I think it's my past. I'm having counselling for that. I'm going in the right direction. You were inspirational. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I love the way you're saying you're going in the right direction, because often as a counsellor, I think people think, okay, I'm going to go to counselling and this person's going to be my saviour and I'm going to be fixed. It's not. It's a healing journey. And I'm still on it, and I'm a therapist, and I've been on my healing journey for coming up to 8 years this Christmas now. 29. Yeah, no, 7 years, sorry, I was exaggerating. So 7 years, and it's just about constantly doing things to support yourself and keep going in that right direction. And counselling's absolutely great for that, but you might find, okay, something else comes up to the surface. One thing I'll say is with counselling is it gets you used to being able to talk about what's going on underneath. And the more you go down the healing journey, the easier it becomes and the more rewarding it is. But I love that you're doing that. Tell you what, you're quite addictive, Ash. If I get hooked, how do I wean off the Ash? Well, don't worry, I'm very boundaried. You'll not get a chance to get hooked with me. I'll be like the dealer that you can't get in touch with, ever. If I feel like there's a problem, I'll be the dealer who cuts you off. Oh, God. Right. I'm going to go down and see, there's quite a lot of comments, so I'm going to just scroll it up and down. Bishop, hello, nice to see you again. How am I doing? I'm doing great. At least when counsellors take their money, they can't afford drugs. Officer Will, there's a way, Dad.